Give me control of a nation's wealth, and I care not who makes the laws. This famous quotation on the seemingly one-sided relationship between banking institutions and governments is attributed to Mayer Amschel Boer Rothschild.
The origin of the situation we're in now, right? Where do we get this world banking cartel, and how do they control the finances and the central banks of these countries? It actually takes us back to 1895, and this was an attack on the United States organized by London and by Morgan. And the goal was to force the U.S. Off the gold standard by buying up all the gold that was in the backing of the U.S. dollar.
In 1832, Andrew Jackson ran for a second term on the basis of regaining control of the economy from the Second Bank of America, which is under Rothschild control. Upon his election victory, Jackson began to make good on his promise, removing state deposits from the Second Bank of America and refusing to renew its charter. What followed, according to Hitchcock, was a high-stakes game, with the Rothschilds causing a depression and ordering a failed assassination attempt on Jackson. In fact, Jackson remarked to his vice president, Martin Van Buren, "The bank, Mr. Van Buren, is trying to kill me." Abraham Lincoln continued to undermine Rothschild interests in 1861 by printing debt-free money to fund the Civil War and continuing to argue for restraining the influence of the central bank.
So mostly what they do is hold summits.
I think that right now the question is, do we all work for central bankers? That's what I want to address to our guest tonight. Is this global governance at last? Is it one world, the central bankers in charge? Mr. LeCamp, do we work for the central bankers?
We know that.
Mr. LeCamp,
We do. This is free. We do. Look, markets are driven by policy now. They're not driven by market forces. They're driven by fiscal cliffs. They're driven by central bank proclamations. They're driven by false rumors coming out of the ECB.
Fiat currency that's continually watered down. They continue to water our currency down so the markets go up and we feel good about it.
We see the Russian stock market weakening. We see a new, this is a big one, the Russians have, of course, most of the assets that were taken from the oligarchs after Putin took power, after Yeltsin gave them to the Jews. Putin took many of them back and gave them to the upper elite Jews, meaning Rothschild moved in and took control over many of these assets. So he still plays both sides of the fence, and still speaks out of both sides of his mouth. And I've never been convinced that he's not a key player in the top of this pyramid. But
well, there is that suspicion. Many people would say, well, is this, Russian-Chinese deal, the BRICS concept, is this just more of the Hegelian dialectic? Is Russia still under the influence of the Rothschilds and this sort of international banking system, or is Russia has Russia really separated? Is Putin really a nationalist and separate from that international octopus of finance?
behind Putin's success so far in foiling the cabal is a team of think tanks inside Russia and think tanks in Iran and other nations opposed to the NWO. They take their job seriously in trying to resolve and counteract all the threats in a diplomatic way and stay within international law, and at the same time show some claws and teeth, because keep in mind they also like winning.
In June of 2015, Paris-based judge Javier Bermudez ruled that Baron Rothschild of the Rothschild Financial Services Group must face a trial for his crimes. That is, if they can find him in one of his many mansions scattered around France.
The leaders of India, China, South Africa, Brazil and Russia have launched a development bank with $50 billion in capital at the BRICS Group of Emerging Economies Summit in the Russian city of Ufa. The bank, which the BRICS countries see as an alternative to the World Bank, will have its capital expanded to $100 billion within the next couple of years. It will be based in Shanghai, China, and plans to issue its first loans, which are yet to be agreed, in April. At the signing ceremony, Russian President Vladimir Putin read a statement on behalf of all the BRICS leaders.
Подробно говорили о ситуации в мировой экономике.
We discussed in detail the situation in the global economy. We are concerned by market instability, high volatility of oil and commodity prices, accumulating of sovereign debt by a range of large countries. All these structural imbalances directly impact the growth dynamics of our economies.
If the market fundamentals then don't support these low prices, some are suggesting that this has been caused by energy warfare targeting Russia, Venezuela and Iran. Is this how you see it, and is this how many participants in Davos see it as well?
The price declines which we've seen over the last few months were also caused by heavy selling in the American future markets, and you could call that a form of economic warfare. And of course, it's full-out economic war between US and Russia.
Putin's role was to follow Yeltsin's footsteps, as the Heligan dialect was already played out in bringing the two nations, the US and Russia, together. But something terrible has gone wrong for the cabal and their world takeover. In the beginning, Vladimir Putin was playing a very complex multi-level game, just like a double agent, with some of the most insidious forces on the planet. He even accepted bribes and played the game of corruption until he turned the game against the cabal. Things have certainly changed in Russia. The Western worldwide media started the biggest lie and propaganda campaign against Putin and every country who opposes the New World Order.
When the currency of the world's largest oil producer collapses like this, it is a very big deal. Russia's economy is facing a depression, not a mere recession, but a depression. This is all the result of the dramatic cut in the price of oil. It is Americans who bumped up the production of oil in North Dakota and Texas and elsewhere in America. They've put out all this extra oil, the prices declined sharply, and Putin is taking the heat because of it.
Retaliatory action, that's right, Russia is making threats now after NATO's recent expansion. As if tensions needed to rise any further in the wake of Turkey's move to shoot down a Russian Su-24 near the Syrian border, NATO has once antagonized Moscow by extending a membership invitation to Montenegro. The announcement came at the NATO ministerial meetings being held in Brussels, Zero Hedge noted. While that may sound inconsequential, Bloomberg reminds us that the country has, quote, close economic links to Russia. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said in September that any expansion of NATO was a mistake and even a provocation.
Well, friends, this here's David Vos. Today is April the 25th, 2016. Now, all of you have watched this video to this point, and I am very certain that most of you probably want to root for somebody, and I know a lot of you are really, really rooting for Vladimir Putin because he seems to be the man. He seems to be fighting the New World Order. And, however, there is only, friends, 3 countries left that are not run by the Rothschild banking system, and Russia is not one of them. Now, if you look here in these pictures, you'll see very clearly that Mr. Kissinger is a very close friend of Vladimir Putin, and recently they were found having a big meeting in Russia. From what we're told, they've kept in close touch, Henry Kissinger and Putin, and they're very good friends and have been over the years very good friends. Whenever each of them visits the other country, they are each other's guests in their respective countries, and they have been friends for a long time. So what was this secret meeting that these two long-standing friends had? Well, we're not going to be told. They're going to keep it hush-hush, but something obviously was going down. Friends, who is Mr. Kissinger? Who is this man that our national security advisor says he takes his orders from Dr. Kissinger? That's right, friends. Read it there in bold print. I take my daily orders from Mr. Kissinger. This has been a long-standing thing that's been going on. Kissinger has been involved and is the main string puller in our politics and national politics around the world. He is a very close advisor to Hillary Clinton. Friends, we've recently found out in the emails of Hillary Clinton that she has very close ties to Mr. Henry Kissinger. She, in her own words, says that she is heavily influenced by Mr. Kissinger. She really takes her orders from him. She is a member of the Trilateral Commission, in which Henry Kissinger is a chief guiding force. He has been a guiding force behind almost all of the politics and national security decisions in America for a long time, friends. We find out that Kissinger is even advising the Catholic Pope. And friends, this is something that is just not, you cannot take this lightly. It has been the case that every politician that has come to the forefront in the last so many years has had to have their meeting with Henry Kissinger before they could participate in politics, period. Including people like Sarah Palin, whom you probably thought had no ties to the global elite Zionist movements around the world. But, friends, let's be honest. If you are Sarah Palin and you're having a meeting with Henry Kissinger, you're probably doing that because you need to have this meeting because this is a very powerful man. And you're nobody. And if you're going to get involved in politics, you've got to be approved by those in charge. Okay, we see this, we know this. All right, there's no question about that. Henry Kissinger has been involved in American politics. He pulls all the strings. He is very huge. He is himself a puppet. You're not going to see, the Rothschilds going and meeting with presidential candidates. They send their puppets. So Mr. Kissinger is their main puppet to the United States. Okay. Now, because Henry Kissinger goes to Russia and meets with Vladimir Putin, does that mean that Vladimir Putin is in collusion with the Zionists? Absolutely not, friends. Absolutely not. You see, the Zionists are trying to find some way to pressure Putin, and they are doing everything they can, including sabotaging the oil prices and so forth and on and on. But there is certainly a difference between someone like Sarah Palin meeting with Henry Kissinger because she's being told what to do, or someone like Hillary Clinton, as she's running for president, getting her orders from Mr. Kissinger, the Zionists, and the Council on Foreign Relations. We all know that we're all being run like little puppets by the New World Order. However, that does not have any comparison to when they go and meet with Vladimir Putin, who is the one that's calling the shots there. You see, Henry Kissinger is going there perhaps to make an offer, perhaps to use some sort of arm twisting or pressure. After all, they're the ones, these Zionists, that have got these sanctions on Russia and are, perpetrating all of this trickery with the oil prices. I mean, there is some really serious stuff going on with oil prices, and this modern stock market thing. What they're doing is they're betting on the prices of oil to go down, and they're actually going to Saudi Arabia and telling them, please, 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 continue the production of oil. We want to keep the prices down, and if you'll do that, we'll go ahead and pay you under the table, Saudi Arabia. We'll pay you under the table for your oil. Don't worry, you'll get your money. But we've got to somehow get in there and lower the prices of oil to the point that we can bring Vladimir Putin to his knees. Now, Vladimir Putin is not the one going to the Zionists on bended knee begging for help. It is the Zionists who are going to Vladimir Putin and hoping that after all of these sanctions and all of this that's been going on, perhaps there could, make some sort of an arrangement. Because you see, they don't really want to go to war. That would just destroy their whole plan. They only want to pretend to go to war. You see, yes, there's a bank in Russia that the Zionists run. But Vladimir Putin is trying everything he can to get out from under that. Everything he can. This is why the BRICS nations are doing this new banking system. And it's scaring them to death, friends. It is scaring them to death. Now listen, nobody knows what's really going on in this world. But friends, not everybody in this world is evil. There are those in this world that are, even here in the United States, that are working on behalf of very loving and good people trying to bring about world peace. There have definitely been a lot of people trying to figure out what side is Vladimir Putin on. Is he trying to truly break the addiction to the Rothschild money in their federal banks all around the world? This mafia-like grip he has on the world, that they have on the world. Or is Vladimir Putin just another stooge? Friends, we're not going to be able to find that out for sure. But what we need to do is keep getting the word out, because there are people here in this country, even though we're being, it looks like Russia might be trying to, help combat this insanity, this evil. But friends, there's actually more people here in the United States combating this evil than you actually know. And so this is where we, the people, come in. We've got to stand up where we see liberty and righteousness. And we've got to do all we can to help the world to see the truth. And here in our country, we cannot vote for these people like Donald Trump, who is only going to try and involve the world more in these stupid banking schemes by the Rothschilds. Donald Trump is a businessman, a billionaire. He's one of them. One of his best friends is Warren Buffett and the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. They're all good buddies. Now, if you want to back that, just go ahead and vote for Donald Trump, friends. But, friends, that's not the right answer. The right answer is that we have a Constitution, and that Constitution stands for liberty and justice for all, and not for the 1% to own everything and to control us and to rape and pillage the earth and make all these profits on pharmaceutical companies and oil companies and electric companies and car companies and monopolies, and just control everything we do from cradle to grave. Friends, we've got to get out of this system. We've got to go back to the Constitution of the United States, which is liberty and justice for all. And neither Ted Cruz nor Hillary Clinton nor Donald Trump is going to get us there, friends. So that's all I really got to say, friends. I hope you guys have a great week. This here's David Vos, and I'll be signing out, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.